Okay, so we're ready for the final assignment in the perspective module. The concept is going to be atmospheric perspective, sometimes called aerial perspective. A way to describe it would be that dust in the atmosphere becomes increased as you look further back in space. There's more distance between you and the object, and so there's more dust, and it would tend to take away the value contrast. Excuse me. An iconic image of the Smoky Mountains that you might have seen many times. It's sort of an example of that, right? The mountains close to you are darker, ones further back are more grayed out. A very simple idea of then you see the layers of the mountains as you move back in space. And also another way of maybe thinking about this also could be about depth of field with the camera, how things that aren't what is focused on in the front become out of focus. Maybe can't see the details within them, right? As well. So that's something that we would exploit as well as you're looking at these drawings. So the materials you're going to be using, again, they're going to be gray tone pastels. So whatever you have, there's different brands out there, right? You should have those. You're going to need your Vine charcoal to work with, pencil sharpeners, and an eraser and sandpaper, right? But also get your, I'm going to have an HB pencil and a charcoal pencil and a white charcoal pencil to work with. My HB pencil helping me to sketch in the original image, which allows me then to erase it a little bit before I settle on what I'm going to put in there. And then once I've done that, I've kind of gone back in with my Vine charcoal to at least break down where there are different layers of things. This one happens to be an image of a plant here, another one behind it, something over there, my middle ground, foreground image there. So are you going to go find a place like this to draw? No, what you're going to do, first thing you need to do before you start drawing is go out and take some photographs. I took some out my front door of these plants here. I went to a park here to photograph this. You may have something in your neighborhood. It could be just looking down a street at objects and things that are in there. You're going to take quite a few photographs before you just settle on what you're going to be drawing. But see if there might be a place that you could go. A park that has water here. This was a little econ park near Valencia College. Downtown might be the Lake Eola. You can have an image there of the fountain. Maybe not your favorite, but you'd also think of some of the things that could be floating out there. As the swan boats are there. So there might be a place that you could go like that, but it doesn't have to have water in it. But you do need to get a distant view of some things, right? So what I did is took a group of photographs. This one is an amalgamation of 3 different photographs. 2 of the photographs are from the same place. This is not in this position, but I used something that I saw in a photograph. This is in my front yard. It has nothing to do with this park, right? So I'm going to put some other quick drawings in there and in the photographs that I use to assemble my drawing to be, right? You're going to do that same thing. So once you've settled on what your image is, you got your line, you've used photographs to do that, you're going to submit the photographs you've used, not because I'm going to be checking to see how well your drawing is, as much as I want to see how you decided to arrange your space. So this image is not one that you have to live with the exactness that maybe your photograph is. You're going to be using parts of it. The expectation is this might have a certain sort of looseness, a certain sort of expressionistic quality to it. I'm going to try to take some photos of watercolors are famous for this. You see this in it. So you can kind of deal with that, even though you're going to be doing with gray tones. Once I've got those images, I kind of play with how I want to arrange the space from them, and then do my line drawing. Once you have the line drawing, we're going to move into the value study. So what you'll see this drawing go through its steps, and I'll shoot another little video showing you, talking about what I'm doing with the value and maybe putting in detail in certain areas. So the initial concept is think about layers as you do this, right? Was it Shrek? Layers, onions have layers, right? That's the concept here, right? There's a layer. This is the closest thing to me. This was right behind it, so it could still be considered my foreground. This is on the other side. This is a balancing issue, right? Another sort of foreground object right in here, some other vegetation. The middle ground, I had this pipe going across the street, the water level here, right? Some water pipe going through there. You don't have to have man-made things in it, but it's okay to have that. So if you have a building in it, or parts of a building, that can be part of what you're dealing with. That can be part of a landscape as well. Bridges, things like that can be part of it as well. It can't be, you're not just drawing one thing. You have to have multiple places. And then here was my distant image, background, a tree line, another tree line a little bit further back. You can see that by concept of vertical location, right? Vertical location is as you move higher in the picture plane, things are further back in space, right? So you see that that's lower than this, and this is higher than this one, right? So this is the furthest one back. It's still another tree line because it's not smaller, but it's further back. And then I'll have some clouds probably in there. Look at my other things I'll be working on with this. So I'm kind of ready to start my value study now that I've got this set up, right? So hopefully you'll have fun with this since it's a little bit more creative and you're not having to observe and be quite as tight with your imagery, your line quality. It's okay to be a little looser with this, but distinct, right? We're gonna have distinct to the edges. You're gonna see that as I work with my charcoal pencils to help do that, kind of delineate certain areas a little bit better. Okay.